Bitcoin slides on Biden drama, risk of sales linked to Mt. Gox. As in cryptocurrency market crash, $90 billion erased from global Bitcoin slides on Biden drama, risk of sales linked to Mt. Gox. As in cryptocurrency market crash, $90 billion erased from global crypto market cap within hours. Biden's odds of dropping out surged to almost 80% on Polymarket after New York Times report. New York Times reported that Biden tells allies he knows he has only days to salvage candidacy. Philippines demands China pay $1 million over South China Sea clash in June, and President Marcos tells Philippine military to ease sea spat with China. Taiwan says China military drone spotted near remote island airport, and Taiwan urges release of boat caught fishing illegally in Chinese waters. China opens mega cross-sea passage with bridges, artificial islands and underground tunnel, as China claims 10 world records for new bridge and tunnel sea crossing. With 39 tanks, HIMARS ammunition, Germany secretly hands over huge arms shipment to Ukraine. Russia twice sent attack submarines towards Irish Sea. Black Sea mine hunting operation begins. Italy wants to order more than 550 tanks from Rheinmetall. Democratic governors vow to stand with Biden after shaky debate performance. Recently, Biden to hold crisis meeting with Democratic governors at the White House. White House denies report that Biden is considering dropping out, as Biden says he screwed up debate but vows to stay in election. Fauci says he has no doubt Biden is capable of continuing as president. Final Fantasy's Hironobu Sakaguchi has no interest in returning to the series he created. Spin Master reveals first toys and collectibles for PlayStation Studios games from Sony Interactive Entertainment. Nintendo has no plans to use Gen AI in games, instead delivering value that cannot be created through technology alone. High housing costs has 2 in 5 recent immigrants saying they may leave province or Canada, and Ottawa considering buying hotels to house growing number of asylum seekers. Japan faces shortage of almost 1 million foreign workers in 2040, think tank says. Korea aims to attract 150,000 professionals from abroad by 2035. Hudson's Bay Company to purchase U.S. department store Neiman Marcus, reports. In the U.S., judge delays ban on non-compete agreements for small number of employers. Pakistan stocks downgraded to frontier market by FTSE Russell. Spotify removes Russian artists who support Ukraine war. Rapper BG ordered to have all future songs approved by U.S. government. In Germany, Turkish players' right-wing Wolf goal celebration sparks furor, and Turkey summons German envoy in row over Demirel's nationalist gesture. Turkey's Mary Demirel facing ban over Wolf celebration and win over Austria. In the U.S., Lincoln's best-selling vehicle is a Chinese import. Voice of America comments as reports of visa checks deportations worry Chinese STEM students in U.S. Nearly a week ago, Nextshark reported that U.S. to restrict Chinese students in STEM fields. U.S. deports 116 Chinese migrants in first large flight in 5 years. Belarus officially joins SCO, becomes its 10th member state. Russia considers Armenia its ally, Deputy PM Overchuk says. Turkey's Erdogan offers to help end Russia and Ukraine war. Kremlin rules him out as intermediary. Financial Times comments as, market forces are not enough to halt climate change. Bloomberg comments as China's investment bankers join the Communist Party as morale and paychecks shrink. Netflix is starting to phase out its cheapest ad-free plan. Internet Archive creates searchable MTV News database after Paramount deletes entire site. Diddy is reportedly trying to sell his LA mansion that was raided by federal agents for $70 million. ChatGPT macOS app spotted storing conversations in plain text. OpenAI reportedly rolls out update. Hackers abused API to verify millions of Authy MFA phone numbers, and Twilio warns Authy users of imminent social engineering attacks after hackers got hold of phone numbers. Infostealer logs reveal identities of 3,300 consumers of child abuse material. Google blames AI as its emissions grow instead of heading to net zero. Proton debuts privacy-focused alternative to Google Docs and Microsoft Word that rejects AI assistance. AI trains on kids' photos even when parents use strict privacy settings. DJI further diversifies from drones with the Avinox e-Spike drive system. Sony won't phase out Blu-ray movie and game discs, only ceasing production on consumer BDR. BTS member Jin expected to take part in Paris Olympics, as a torchbearer from South Korea. Threads hits 175 million users after a year. Indian Twitter rival Coup shuts down after failed acquisition talks. Helldivers 2 loses 90% of its PC player base in just 5 months. Tenerife to combat traffic chaos with island-wide train network. Political deepfakes remain legal in Louisiana. Governor Landry has First Amendment concerns. Russia-based disinformation network linked to fake story about Zelensky's Bugatti purchase. BBC says. Detroit paying $300,000 to man wrongly accused of theft, making changes to facial technology usage. Cloudflare debuts one-click nuke of web scraping AI. Brazil blocks Meta from using social media posts to train AI. In Indonesia, Kominfo's Aptica Director General resigns after national data center hack, and hackers offer surprise apology after ransomware attack on Indonesian government data centers. The Hill comments as bribes, assassination and pardons. Immunity ruling leaves questions on unchecked presidential power. Giuliani is disbarred in New York as court finds he repeatedly lied about Trump's 2020 election loss. Project 2025 head says, Second American Revolution will be bloodless if the left allows. Welsh government commits to making lying in politics illegal. Count Bin Face, Elmo and AI Steve. The UK election's unusual candidates. Starmer says UK won't rejoin EU trade bloc in his lifetime, and UK to vote in parliamentary elections, expected to end to Conservative rule, as Keir Starmer's Labour Party tipped for historic election win as UK voters go to the polls. US judge blocks Biden rule adding gender identity protections to healthcare. Japan's top court rules force sterilization law unconstitutional. Millions of OnlyFans paywalls make it hard to detect child sex abuse, cops say. Raids find luxury handbags being made by exploited workers in Italy. In Spain, Glovo founder faces 6 months to 6 years in prison for undermining workers' rights. 18 months ago, Spain's delivery platform Glovo fined again for breaching labor laws. Mulls closing off duty exemption for cheap goods that help shine Temu AliExpress. FAA clears takeoff for Las Vegas Desert Airport. Space tourism hub to launch soon. India seeks to join planetary mission ahead of Apophis asteroid passing close to Earth. New models suggest Milky Way is not as packed with stars as previously thought. Eigenlayer competitor Symbiotic crosses $1 billion in deposits in under a month. DWF Labs launches $20 million fund to support Web3 projects in Chinese-speaking regions. Revolut CEO confident on UK bank license approval, as fintech firm hits record $545 million profit. And Revolut planning to offer mortgages in Ireland from next year. Nancy Pelosi disclosed stock market trades made by her husband. He loaded up on AI plays like Nvidia and sold Tesla. SoftBank lost 99% when the dot-com bubble burst, now it's all in on AI. Cryptocurrency investors are more likely to self-report dark tetrad personality traits, study shows. Filipinos can now use Tether's USDT on TON blockchain for social security payments. Russian regulator encourages use of crypto to counter sanctions. Ahead of the UK election, major parties remain silent on crypto issues. Polkadot defends $37 million splurge on influencers and private jet logos. All the networks have similar spending. India-based crypto exchange CoinDCX acquires Dubai's BitOasis. U.S. judge sets stage for NFT securities trial as DraftKings lawsuit moves forward. Number of Russian asylum seekers in Korea soars to nearly 9,000 since start of war in Ukraine. Russian exports to U.S. climbed to $438.7 million in May 2024. In Brazil, Lula launches 400.59 billion Brazilian reals harvest plan for corporate agriculture. Biden told Netanyahu the night of Iran attacks, "You retaliate and you're on your own." Israel studying Hamas response to Gaza ceasefire proposal, says Mossad, and Hamas leader holds talks with representatives of Egypt, Qatar and Turkey, as Hamas exchanges ideas with intermediaries on ceasefire in Gaza. Italy seizes Chinese-made military drones destined for Libya. Israel announces largest appropriation of state land in West Bank since Oslo Accords. Some Israeli hostages have attempted suicide, Islamic Jihad armed wing says. Southeast Asian militant group Jamaat Islamiyah to be disbanded, say its senior leaders. Ukraine not ready to compromise with Russia, says Zelensky aide. Trump discusses possibility of ceding part of Ukraine to Putin, claimed Politico, and from Zelensky to Trump. If you have a plan to end the war, tell us now. Russia must leave Ukraine. U.S. rejects Orban's ceasefire proposal. RFK Jr. denies eating a dog while sidestepping sexual assault allegations in Vanity Fair article. High ceilings linked to poorer exam results for university students. Japan declares victory in effort to end government use of floppy disks. Satellite images show expansion of suspected Chinese spy bases in Cuba. Several Chinese nationals killed in DR Congo gold mine attacks. China begins smartphone inspections as part of espionage law. Russia cheers Marine Le Pen's national rally in French election. French left and centrist parties unite to block far-right national rally. Renowned Nazi hunter in France advises Jews to choose far-right over far-left in elections. In France, Jean-Marie Le Pen declared unfit to stand trial over misuse of EU funds. In the U.S., survivors of Tulsa race massacre call on Biden to open investigation into 1921 attack. 3 weeks ago, Oklahoma Supreme Court dismisses lawsuit brought by survivors of Tulsa race massacre. In Brazil, military pensions will cost 856 billion Brazilian reals in the coming decades, 60% of the value for retired civil servants. Donald Trump claims Biden is quitting election and calls Vice President Kamala Harris pathetic. Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings is one of the first Democratic megadonors to call for Biden to step aside. Joe Biden sit down with George Stephanopoulos, moves to Friday primetime as pressure on president on the U.S. increases from debate debacle. Tucker Carlson announces interview with Zelensky, and Zelensky's spokesperson denies claim of upcoming interview with pro-Russian Tucker Carlson. Poland's Law and Justice says no to Orban's Patriots, and stays with Meloni's group in EU Parliament. Scholz promises Germany won't be party in Ukraine war, and Germany will never support ceasefire that entails Ukraine's surrender, says Scholz. Global police operation shuts down 600 cybercrime servers linked to Cobalt strike. Israeli entities targeted by cyber attack using donut and sliver frameworks. 384,000 sites pull code from sketchy code library, recently bought by Chinese firm. Microsoft MS-HTML flaw exploited to deliver Merck spyware tool. Fake bat loader malware spreads widely through drive-by download attacks. South Korean ERP vendor server hacked to spread store malware. Chinese Premier Li Chong calls for nations to bridge intelligence gap in AI. China science body lists digital humans and optical chips among key challenges. U.S. awards $504 million for tech hubs in overlooked regions. Air pollution killed more than 33,000 Indians a year from 2008 to 2019, claims Lancet study. To save spotted owls, U.S. officials plan to kill hundreds of thousands of another owl species. Nearly 500 people hospitalized in Japan after taking red yeast supplements. Hurricane Beryl hammers Jamaica on path to Caymans, Mexico. Russia swelters in heat wave. Moscow breaks 1917 record for early July. Study reveals ancient Nile floods were highly variable during wetter climates. Fisker seeks judges' approval to sell Ocean EVs at $14,000 per SUV. GM will pay $146 million in penalties because 5.9 million older vehicles emit excess carbon dioxide. Former Boeing inspector alleges scrap parts ended up on assembly lines. Fossils show huge salamander-like predator with sharp fangs existed before the dinosaurs. World's oldest cave art found showing humans and pig. Human crying stresses out dogs more than pigs. Finds study of family pets. Chinese scientists find the gene that protects people in southern China, Southeast Asia against obesity. New mRNA technology turns cells into long-lasting drug factories. In the U.S., FDA to ban BVO, additive found in some fruity sodas and sports drinks. Newsweek reports that Joe Biden might be asked by 25 House Democrats to step down, where The Telegraph comments as Michelle Obama the only Biden alternative who would beat Trump. New York Times reported, Biden tells allies he knows he has only Philippine fried chicken giant Jollibee buys South Korea's Compose coffee. Online shopping warehouses are creating new American boomtowns. A new Trump Tower is coming to Saudi Arabia in 2028. Kim Jong-un says economy is on upturn as Russian ties deepen. The Conversation comments as Russia has become so economically isolated that China could order the end of war in Ukraine. The Guardian comments as, when power shifts, so does the money. Megadonors fill labor's coffers. Zelensky says Russian casualties 6 times larger than those of Ukraine. NATO to Trump-proof Ukraine aid. After Biden's weak debate performance with $40 billion annual financial pledge and new post in Kyiv, Finland granted the United States access to military bases. Supreme Court impeachment plan released by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Biden warns Supreme Court presidential immunity ruling is dangerous precedent. The Nation comments as, the president can now assassinate you officially, and Huffington Post comments as, Supreme Court gives Joe Biden the legal okay to assassinate Donald Trump. Trump has some immunity in D.C. election interference case, Supreme Court rules. 2 of Donald Trump's golf course liquor licenses not renewed. Trump seeks to toss New York felony conviction after immunity win, and Supreme Court rules former presidents have broad immunity, dimming chance of a pre-election Trump trial. Trump amplifies calls to jail top elected officials, invokes military tribunals, and Liz Cheney fires back at Trump after he calls for televised military tribunals for former congresswoman. Ahead of election, Venezuela's Maduro says he has agreed to resume negotiations with United States. 39 died, over 350 injured in Kenya's anti-tax protests. Reportedly, China's young people are revenge-saving, even as Gen Zers around the world are piling up debt. In the UK, almost 1.8 million people owe £50,000 or more in student debt. In Germany, shoplifters steal goods worth €4.1 billion. Apple reclassifies iPhone X, HomePod, and original AirPods as vintage. MacBook owners with faulty butterfly keyboards to get payouts soon. Fortnite and Epic Games Store submitted to Apple for launch in the EU. Chinese auto brands to surge to 33% of global market, report says. Suzuki Swift Sport given another 18 months to live, succession plans unclear. Audi is adding ChatGPT into existing cars going back to 2021, more going forward. 4 of 5 Huawei AI chips defective, as U.S. sanctions bite. China issues rare earth regulations to further protect domestic supply. India closing the gap in smartphone exports as China, Vietnam slows down. 2 corporate executives kidnapped, murdered in Philippines, and China urges severe punishment for killers of citizen in Philippines. Russia imposes entry ban on 99 Canadians. U.S. troops arrive in Chiapas to train Mexican armed forces. Korea to launch population ministry to address low birth rates, aging population. Swedes take a new step in parental leave. Grandparents can now get paid to take care of grandkids. More China provinces to cover IVF in effort to boost births. EU says Instagram's paid ad-free option breaches rules. Nvidia to face antitrust charges in France that could result in major fines, sources say. 3 million iOS and macOS apps were exposed to potent supply chain attacks. EFF comments as, hack of age verification company shows privacy danger of social media laws. Bots compose 42% of overall web traffic, nearly 2/3 are malicious. Bot-like accounts spreading hate during UK election, announces an NGO. New Satan stealer malware steals browser cookies and passwords. Critical OpenSSH vulnerability threatens millions of Linux systems. Prudential Financial now says 2.5 million impacted by data breach. Police arrested a man they say shot a Walmart drone. Armed Americans could pose a headache for air deliveries. Chinese woman facing charge of trying to smuggle turtles across Vermont Lake to Canada. Metal Gear Solid movie script still being worked on, producer says. Sega's new Crazy Taxi reboot will be an open-world MMO. Nintendo says it wants to avoid Switch 2 scalping by making enough to meet demand. Revenue from game subscriptions like Xbox Game Pass has barely grown in 2 years, potentially explaining Microsoft's studio closures. Google invests in BlackRock-backed Taiwanese solar developer to boost energy capacity amid AI boom. Google's AI search summaries use 10x more energy than just doing a normal Google search. Meta changes its made with AI labels after backlash from users over accuracy. Chinese private spaceflight company accidentally launches reusable rocket into the side of a mountain. Japan successfully launches an advanced Earth observation satellite on its new flagship H3 rocket. CERN's Atlas experiment releases 65 terabytes of open data for research. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman anticipates GPT-5 as a significant leap forward over GPT-4, which occasionally goes off the rails with mistakes even a 6-year-old wouldn't make. YouTube now lets you request removal of AI-generated content that simulates your face or voice. China-led resolution on artificial intelligence passes in United Nations General Assembly. In the U.S., state social media laws aimed at protecting conservative users remain blocked, Supreme Court says. In Spain, adults who want to access porn sites must have a 30-access digital card valid for 30 days. In Argentina, government proposes lowering age of criminal responsibility from 16 to 13. 3 former executives of Outcome Health, a Chicago-based health technology startup company, were sentenced for their roles in a fraud scheme that targeted the company's clients, lenders, and investors and involved approximately $1 billion in fraudulently obtained funds. Under pressure on plane safety, Boeing is buying stressed supplier Spirit for $4.7 billion. Cryptocurrencies granted legal status in Turkey under new crypto law. U.S. Marshals Service announces partnership with Coinbase to manage and dispose cryptocurrencies. In Ethereum hodling, 78% of supply locked in diamond hands. Nvidia soars 2,782% in 5 years, outshining Bitcoin and Ethereum. Token merger of SingularityNet, Fetch.ai, and Ocean Protocol goes live. Orban allies announce right-wing Patriots for Europe alliance, as Austrian far-right, Hungary's Orban form new EU alliance. Portugal's far-right joins Viktor Orban's Patriots for Europe alliance. Jean-Luc Mélenchon will not be PM if left-wing alliance wins majority. Greens candidate says the conversation comments as, the far-right has surged to the lead in France's elections. But forming a government remains a tall order. India is slowly but surely climbing its way to the top as a medical tourist destination, say experts. Wildfires hit 600,000 hectares in eastern Russia, and Russia declares state of emergency in 2 regions due to forest fires. Israel to begin offensive in Lebanon later in July. Report, recently Iran's UN mission threatens obliterating war if Israel launches Lebanon offensive, and Blinken says, Israel effectively lost sovereignty in north due to Hezbollah and nobody wants war in southern Lebanon, Blinken says. Lawsuit accuses Iran, Syria and North Korea of providing support for Hamas' October 7 attack on Israel. Estonia says it could hold out against a Russian attack for a couple of weeks before NATO arrives. Hungarian PM says he arrives in Kiev to help resolve conflict in Ukraine. Ukraine is releasing thousands of prisoners so they can join the fight against Russia, and U.S. doesn't see Ukraine in NATO today, Zelensky says. Hurricane Beryl strengthens to Category 5 storm as it flattens island in Grenada. Storms bring heavy rains, flash flooding, water rescues to parts of Kansas City metro. Climate projections show fewer opportunities for prescribed fires. German court convicts far-right politician Björn Höcke for using Nazi slogan. Marine Le Pen's far-right National Rally Party leads in first round of French election, and violent protest against far-right National Rally erupt in Paris, as Macron urges tactical voting. Twice as many Britons want tax rises as want cuts, survey finds. India develops one of the most powerful non-nuclear bombs, 2x lethal than TNT. Lithuania plans to withdraw from Convention on Cluster Munitions. German weapons exports on course to hit new record. Netanyahu says Israel advancing to end of the stage of eliminating Hamas army in Gaza. Lufthansa halts night flights to and from Beirut due to Middle East situation. IDF destroys kilometer-long terror tunnel in central Gaza. Bombs a mosque used to store arms. Saudi Arabia announces discovery of 7 oil, gas deposits, and OPEC Plus countries extend voluntary oil output cuts by 2.2 million barrel per day for Q3. Kazakhstan eyeing nuclear power as alternative to coal, announces Kazenergy 1 month ago. Kazakhstan contemplates $10 to 12B nuclear power plant amid energy strategy overhaul. Federal judge blocks Biden's pause on LNG export permits. China's Velvet Ant hackers caught exploiting new zero-day exploit in Cisco devices. Indian software firms' products hacked to spread data-stealing malware. New OpenSSH vulnerability could lead to RCE as root on Linux systems. Caparat spyware disguised as popular apps threatens Android users. Juniper Networks flings out emergency patches for Perfect 10 router vulnerability. Patelco Credit Union ransomware attack halts banking services for nearly 500,000 members. Pakistani court sentences Christian man to death for posting hateful content against Muslims. No Muslim representation in India's cabinet as Modi starts third term, and it had been commented as Muslims in India continue to be targeted by emboldened mobs under Modi 3.0. Singapore prepared to recognize Palestine if it renounces terrorism and accepts Israel. Blackpink star Lisa pays Chinatown shopkeepers $540 each to shut street for video shoot. Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan to be honored with Locarno Film Festival Career Award. 15-year-old known as God's influencer, to be first millennial saint after Pope approves canonization. Firms from Middle East, Europe are eyeing Hong Kong IPO thanks to cross-border schemes, claimed UBS. Bloomberg comments as, UK becomes safe haven for investors spooked by France chaos. China launches rail service with Europe via Russia. Donald Trump challenges hush money conviction hours after immunity ruling. House Republicans sue Attorney General Garland for access to audio from Biden's interview with special counsel Her. John Dean says Nixon would have survived Watergate under immunity ruling. SCMP comments as Russia and North Korea pact dooms U.S. hopes of Indo-Pacific dominance, as deepening Russia and North Korea ties test U.S. and South Korea deterrence strategy. The Taliban tell the West to look past harsh edicts on Afghan women and girls and build ties. China, Australia donate buildings, airstrips in Pacific influence race. Tesla deliveries set to fall for second straight quarter. China's BYD posts 21% jump in quarterly EV sales, closes gap with Tesla. In Brazil, Indiana, a letter to Lula. Car manufacturers speak of the uncontrolled entry of Chinese cars and ask for import barriers. Hunter Biden sues Fox News over explicit images featured in a streaming series. Netflix's Ancient Apocalypse scraps U.S. filming plans after outcry from Native American groups. In Japan, solo wedding trend captures glam photos, no partner required. Crypto-friendly Silvergate Bank pays $63 million to settle charges with SEC, Fed, California regulator. Roaring Kitty lawsuit over GameStop is withdrawn for now. Recently, Roaring Kitty's favorite meme stocks are tanking as the trader faces securities fraud claims over past social media posts. Hackers stole $176.2 million in crypto in June. Circle snags first